Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Brantford Red Sox Report, a new show here on Rogers TV. Every week we're going to talk to a player from the Brantford Red Sox community, whether it be a player, somebody behind the scenes, one of our awesome community members, and the people that make the Brantford Red Sox and our IBL contest themselves happen. Today we're going to be talking to a gentleman who had some big news happen earlier this week. Mr. Chris Ortega joins us in the studio today, an IBL All-Star starter here for the 2025 season. Tune in every week. We're going to have awesome behind-the-scenes content. We're going to go over previous weeks of the IBL and specifically the Brantford Red Sox season and talk a little bit about what the outlook looks like on the rest of the IBL calendar. Today, Chris, you're joining us today. You're an IBL All-Star starter. I'm going to ask you the easy question to start us off. How does it feel? Talk me through the emotions being an IBL All-Star in your rookie season.
First off, it's fantastic. Being nominated and then actually coming out and winning, just true happiness. So many talented guys in this league, and you just get picked. Not only are you on the team, but you're starting. That's my whole family's so happy for me.
I'm happy for you, and I'm happy for them, my man. And we'll kind of get back to a bit of this season, a little bit of the outlook of the rest of the Red Sox calendar later in the show. But for starters, let's learn a little bit about your background, because a lot of people, even though we do great broadcasts on the IBL Brantford Red Sox YouTube, a lot of the time the individual players can kind of fall by the wayside. So on this show, let's try to learn about players. Let's try to learn about yourself today. And you grew up in Miami, Florida. We were just talking about it a moment ago. You've played everywhere. You grew up, then you went to high school, I believe, in West Virginia, and then in Tennessee. You went to university, then you come to the IBL to play for Brantford. Talk to me a little bit about what each of those different environments meant for your playing career, and what's Brantford compared to your upbringing in Miami.
So I went to high school in Miami, and then ended up going to West Virginia first 3 years of college, and then hit the transfer portal and went to Tennessee. And honestly, West Virginia, it's very culture shock. So much differences between that and Florida. Very small town. I come from a big city, and then pass that along down to Tennessee, and it was a bit bigger, and I enjoyed my time there a bit more than I did in West Virginia. But no, it's been fantastic so far.
Now, looking back, we have a couple photos we can show here on screen of you in your younger years and kind of you're making your way through, like we said, high school, played at university, transferred, and then to the IBL. Which of those seasons, as we'll see here on screen, which of those seasons do you think required the biggest jump between high school to university to the IBL? What made you evolve as a player the most?
So I would say my first year at Tusculum at Tennessee, I struggled mightily, and then I played summer ball, and my summer ball coach really helped me get my swing down. And from there, the next season, which was my senior season at Tusculum University, I performed great. It was just a huge jump from hitting very poorly to exceeding expectations.
Well, you as a player, one of the things that has always been come through about you when you do research about Mr. Chris Ortega is that you're an incredibly studious person. You're great academically. In your time at Davis & Elkins, you were on the MEC Commissioner's Honor Roll in 2020 and 2021. You achieved the Athletic Director's Honor Roll as well later in your career. And you did post-secondary in business management and marketing. So you're a guy that's very well-versed, you're very studious. And often the consideration coaches make with that is if you're well studious off the field, you're good at studying, you're good at game prep on the field. So would you say that kind of summarizes you as a player pretty well?
Yeah. It goes hand in hand. Hard work in the classroom leads to hard work out of the classroom. And I would say I have a business mind. I love the aspect of business. My dad's an accountant, so it kind of transferred from there. But it definitely goes hand in hand.
And in terms of prep in the IBL, you face such a wide diversity of players and pitchers. We'll talk about later kind of the different global backgrounds in the IBL. But you faced such a variety of players this season. We'll talk about maybe Fernando Rodney in a little bit, all these fun guys you got to play. But how much does prep and really preparing for the pitcher, how much does that play in your routine for the IBL?
Me not going in and thinking too much plays well into how my approach is for the game. So I try not to think too much before going up to the plate, especially facing some of the better pitchers in the league. People get a little antsy, but I try to stay calm, collective, and that allows me to perform at my best.
And speaking of performing at your best, you have been exceptional this year. It's why you're an IBL All-Star. And the big thing that anytime we bring in a color commentator, that everybody's noticed about you on the broadcast is you're just so consistent. You'll come out in games, and even if we're having a rough hitting slump, the Red Sox are having a bad hitting night, you're always there. You're 1 for 4, 2 for 4 in the bad games, and sometimes you're exploding like you did the other day against Hamilton, against Welland. You're really exceptional when you blow up, and you've hit .344 this year. You've had the least 0-hit games with the full-time players on the Brantford Red Sox, and that's saying something because guys like Takioka and Paolos are keeping you on your toes there. But you also had a 19 and 20 game on base streak back in university. So you're a guy that you'll just consistently find a way to bring value to the team, to bring value at the plate. What is it about your approach or your at the plate approach that makes that possible compared to so many other players?
Yeah, so I like to attack. Hitting is the hardest thing to do in sports, and when you beat the pitcher to attacking, you know how the pitcher's always attacking the zone. You have to attack the pitches that are thrown in the zone. You not necessarily go after your pitch all the time, just attack and stay through the middle. That's been my approach this year. It's just I'm not going to let the umpire dictate my at-bat. I got to dictate my own at-bats.
And speaking of dictating it, you're a guy that's really good with pace because you're also a big walking threat. Your walk to strikeout ratio is quite solid for such a power threat like yourself. What is it? How do you balance those two things about you're trying to watch for those walks, you're trying to make the pitcher earn strikes, but when you do make that swing decision, you do commit, you absolutely mash the ball out of the ballpark. How do you balance those two skill sets?
I've been plate discipline. I've been working on that numerous times, throughout the years. It's been hard, being considered a power guy. A lot of pitchers like to throw junk, so it's hard to lay off those good pitches in the dirt sometimes. But it almost feels like an extra life. You take that pitch and then you get something you can hit. So that's the mentality I've been going with.
And just a final question before we get ready for a quick break in just a moment. Your kind of season this year, like I said, you've never had a bad game, but you'd faced some really good pitchers. Is there a particular game this season that's maybe tested your plate discipline? I mean, you played Owen Boone a week ago. He, at the time of filming this, just yesterday had the first no-hitter in the IBL in 40 years. Is there a game that's really tested you this season?
Yeah, there's been numerous games. I've faced a ton of fantastic pitching, but I would say I do struggle with Kush on Guelph. He's got the rising fastball, and it plays very well, and I struggle mightily with that.
Well, he deservedly got an all-star nod as well. We'll talk a little bit about coming back from the break kind of this season. We'll get a little bit more micro on this year for the Brantford Red Sox and talk about getting ready for the all-star game. But we do want to congratulate both Aiden Armitage and on the other side, Renee Takioka, who we'll also talk about after the break. We're going to head to a quick commercial. We'll be right back here in just a few moments when the Brantford Red Sox Report returns with today's special man, our guy from the 2025 All-Star Game, representative for Brantford, Mr. Chris Ortega. We'll see you back in just a moment.